Morning, everyone. Hope you are well. Um, Today's learning is dedicated in memory of Yehuda Ber ben Ramosha, Rachel Leah bas Yitzchak Moshe, Aaron ben Tzvi, Eliyahu ben Eliezer Wiseman, Pesach bas Bonya, Ver Tzvi ben Shraga David, Leah bas Bible, Sivia bas Mordechai, Abram ben David Slavin, Shlomo ben Yisrael Morris, Eliezer ben Shmuel Teret, Eliezer Shalom ben Abram Shmuel Beres, Sipora Fegela bas Reuven Baruch, Shalom ben Elieli, Bena bas Bible, and Fruma Shoshana bas Yaakov Shmuel. We wish the respective families long life and only simchas. Good morning and welcome everyone. It's if ever your kids say, who's your favorite? Which is your favorite child? So you say to the first child that comes to you, you're my favorite. Then the next child comes along and they say, it's not fair. Who's your favorite? And you say, you're my favorite. So eventually the kids work out that all of them are your favorites and all of them are equally cherished and loved by you, at least most of the time. Anyways, can you have favorites when it comes to learning ethics of the fathers? Well, I have to tell you that they're all my favorites, but this one in particular that we are learning is certainly up there as one of my favorites. So here we go. So we're in the second chapter of Ethics of the Fathers. And Hillel, we're back to Hillel. Remember Hillel? Hillel, of course, the one of the greatest sages who many stories, but we're going to stick to the Mishnah. Hillel Omer, that one shouldn't separate oneself from the community, and the person shouldn't believe in himself until the day of death. And a person shouldn't judge another person until they reach his place. And don't say something which is impossible for the other person to hear. Because in the end, he will be heard. And a person shouldn't say to himself, when I'm free, then I'll study, right? Maybe he'll never actually get round to it. Now, all we need to do is to understand this fascinating Mishnah, okay? And you can help me in the comments along the way. Let me just put on the comments. And good morning to each and every one of you. To David, Rachel, Harry, Richard, Anthony, Adam, David, Eitan, Andrea, Powell, David, Richard, Caroline, and StreamYard. Okay, welcome to you all. Lovely to have so many people with us again. So let's now understand this amazing Mishnah. It goes as follows. The first rule is, Al tifroish min hatzibur. Do not separate yourself from the community. Now, the simple understanding, the way most people take it, is that you shouldn't start making separate minyanim. The breakaway minyan, the Haftorah minyan, the early morning minyan. I don't like the way I want to skip the rabbi's sermon, therefore we have a little minyan in the side. Okay. Now I should be clear, joking aside, that in the current climate where where the shuls are closed, there is no such thing as a breakaway minyan. Right? As long as it is legal, and I emphasize again, so I'm not misquoted, as long as it is legal, there is no such thing as a breakaway minyan when the shuls are closed. But when there are shuls open, and then you decide just because you don't like the way the Baal Musaf, and therefore you're going to have your own service, that is a breakaway minyan. That's the way most people understand it. But that's not the meaning. That's not the real meaning of this. When it says don't separate from the community, it means there is a tendency for people to dip in and out. I'll pitch up when it suits me, but I'm not really engaged. I'm not really there for the community. When we say don't separate yourself from the community, it means don't think that you should be your own person, your own minyan, your own community. I don't know what's going on in my community. I'm not really interested. I'll come for davening. And the rest of the time, I'll do my own thing. The fact that there is this crisis going on, or they've reached out, they need 100 volunteers for COVID. It's not my thing. I'm not really part of the community. I pay my dues. I come to shul, but am I really part of the community? Says the Mishnah, says Hillel, you have to be a part of the community. You can't separate yourself. You can't say, I pay my way, and therefore I'll come when it suits me. You got to be there. You got to feel the pain. You got to feel the simchas, even though it's not your simcha, even though it's not your sorrow. Be there with the community through the highs and the lows. Very important concept. Don't Don't believe yourself until the day of death. Until, in other words, that a person could say, you know what, I don't need these precautions. I'm quite able to see unfiltered internet. I'm quite able to put myself in a rather compromising position. These laws of yichud, the laws of seclusion that the rabbis came up with, the laws of not of shemenegia, of not touching one another of the opposite sex, it doesn't affect me. I'm not affected by anything, right? I can't tell you, sadly, how many stories we could all write books about people that felt that, then you don't need to worry about me. I will never ever compromise. I know myself. I know my limits. I know my boundaries, and there never is the case. A person should not lull themselves into a false sense of security and believe that they cannot be compromised on. One of my real favorites of the favorites. Don't judge your friend, another person, until you reach their place. Now, I ask you, so simply speaking, the implication is that once I reach their place, right, if I really look into things, then I can judge the person. That's not the way I understand the Mishnah, as many of you have heard time and again. The way to understand this Mishnah is as follows. You cannot judge anybody else until you reach their place. Now, can you ever really step into somebody else's shoes? Can you really ever be that other person? The answer is, simply speaking, absolutely no. Because you are you and they are they, and never shall the twain meet. And therefore, you can never really, according to Hillel, judge the person, because you never understand what's going on behind the closed doors, beneath the surface, right? We think we get people. We think we understand what they're going through. We never really understand. And therefore, if we have suffered a bereavement, we think we understand every other person who suffered a bereavement. Or if we suffered a tragedy or a setback, we get. No, you don't, because you are made of different stuff to somebody else. And therefore, the Hillel is really saying here, when he says don't judge another person until you reach their place, you can never really judge another person because you can never really be in their place. Such an important concept. We are so quick to jump to conclusions, to make assumptions, to cast aspersions, to label, to stereotype. Listen to what Hillel's saying, the wise words of Hillel. You're never going to be able, never try and judge another person. Give them the benefit of the doubt. And he says he doesn't make any exception. So even the rabbi, you have to give the benefit of the doubt. Okay, I'm joking. And don't say something that the other person can't hear. In other words, there's two ways that I think you can understand it. Simply speaking, what he is saying is that when you are trying to be a communicator, when you're trying to teach something, be it to a friend, a colleague, a contemporary, a child, right, your kids, right, make sure that you say it in a palatable way, in a way that they can understand. And we all know when we speak to our kids sometimes, and then we get rolling of the eyes, this glazed look comes over their faces, and we know they've completely switched off, or we switch them off. You got to speak to them in a way that they can relate to. Okay, doesn't mean you can't tell them things, but it's got to be at a time and in a place, in a way that you engage with the other person, right? The other thing that this can refer to is that one shouldn't give rebuke until when a person cannot hear it. Don't say something if that he says that the other person cannot hear. If it's going to fall on deaf ears, as we say in English, don't bother to say it. It's counterproductive. You just draw greater distance between you and your friend, right? And do not say, I'm not going to do it now, procrastinate, and I'll do it later. Because we don't know what lies ahead of us. We don't know what challenges are in front of us. If you have an opportunity to do a mitzvah, you have an opportunity to help someone, you have an opportunity to daven, you have an opportunity to learn, grab that opportunity. Carpe diem. This moment you never, ever will get again. Right now, this moment that we are sharing together never comes again. I'm not saying to switch off now. I'm saying to switch on. I'm saying to grab this moment, grab every moment. Don't say when we have opportunities to do things, or when people ask us, would you like to be involved in this project, this charity, right? Or would you like to help build this program, this project? Don't say, I'm really busy now. I've got this, I know, and we all know that when we ask a busy person, and that's the way you'll get things done. If I ask somebody who's got all the time in the world, they'll say, not right now. The time is just not right. Okay? Because a busy person makes time. You have to squeeze in more into life, into every single day. That's the end of the Mishnah, a brilliant, brilliant Mishnah that we should take to heart and bear in mind. We now make the Refuah Shlema prayer for anyone that is unwell, and then afterwards the memorial prayer. Misha Berach of Saint Robin, Yitzchak, Avram, Yisrael, Yaakov, Moshe, Aaron, David, Shlomo, Yivayach, Rav, Ezachelim. Bavo she'anu mispalim b'avoram b'zchazar Kadosh Baruch Hu Yimalei Rachim Aleihem Lachman Lefosam Yishlach Lehem Mefushlim and Shemaim L'Chol V'Meshach Shachu Yisrael Refuah Nefesh Refuah Guf Hashav Agavos Makarev and Amar Amen. Good morning to a couple of people that have just joined us fairly recently. To Jackie, to Susan, to Michael, to Simon, and anyone else that I've missed. Okay, and David. Okay, memorial prayer. El Malay Rachamim Shaykhin Van Roy me Mamatim Nochana Akampesh Kinobalos Kedosh Maturin Kazarakim Asim Es Nishma Islebas Bible Tivibas Mordechai Avram Ben David Slavin Shlomo Ben Yisrael Morris Eliezer Ben Shmuel Teret Eliezer Sham Ben Avram Shmuel Berest Tzipora Fegelabas Reuven Baruch Shalom Ben Eli Eli Ben Abbas Bible from Rosh Hashanah Yaakov Shmuel Yehuda Ben Ramosha Rachel Abbas Yitzchak Moshe Aaron Ben Tzvi Eliyahu Ben Eliezer Wiseman, Pesach Bas Ponya, Tzvi Ben Shraga David, Shalchu Li'alamam Began Aiden Teimanuch Osam Lachem Balarachamim Yasirei Beseisa Kanavam Li'alamim Yitzov Asachai Misishma Samadana Inachlasam Bianucha B'Shlamish Kavam and Amar Amen. Wish long life to all those members that have Yortzeit or that are saying Kaddish during the year. Wish everyone well. Have a great Shabbos. Keep safe, keep well, and please God, we look forward to seeing you on Sunday. Take care, guys. Be well.